So, in a similar manner to yesterday, I'm going to be going over a rather common saying among Christians, just even just people alike. And the one that I went over yesterday was that God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers, which I did not agree with. And I also don't agree with the one that I'm also about to say, which is that everything happens for a reason. I don't agree with either of those. I did for a long time. I did. But as I grew in God and I grew in my faith and I grew towards growing closer to God, growing closer to the truth, I realized that that's not like the concept. I get the concept, and I think the concept is what people are going for rather than the actual saying itself. Because, the people who are baby Christians or who aren't even Christians, they might see that as a little insensitive, and it is. Truthfully, it is. It's really lacks compassion. It lacks empathy. It just kind of ignores the person's emotions and just saying, "Hey, this thing happened for a reason. It's gonna have a reason." Like, it's easy to say that, but it's hard to see that when you're in a position in life where you don't have that kind of luxury. You know, you have to work towards it. You have to, it's like working out every day. You have to grow stronger to be able to, properly see and understand that while the concept itself is true, the words themselves are not. Because, everything doesn't happen for a reason. There's a lot of things that happen that are just tragedies. And every day, there's a tragedy every day, y'all. Like, it's not just because you don't see them doesn't mean there aren't. People are dying constantly. Every second that we're alive, somebody else could be dying. Like, in the literal sense of passing away. And to say that everything happens for a reason just so haphazardly, like, it is a little self-righteous, honestly. But I get it though. It's easy to fall into that. Like, I understand. Trust me, I understand. I'm not saying that everybody's wrong or anybody's right. I'm just saying that there's a better way to see things. And that way is that while things do happen, for a reason, that's not everything. But it's more so that God gives things reasons. He gives things purpose. Like, for an example, 9/11. It was a tragedy. It was a terrible, horrible accident that, whatever the reason why it happened was, it was a terrible thing regardless. But it did bring people together. Even in the darkness, there is light, Like, in every situation, there is something to be happy about. There is something to look upon, to be joyous about. Because you can focus on the negative stuff all you want, but if you focus on it, it doesn't magically make it go away. Nor does being, focusing on the good things. It's just, which one is more beneficial than the other? To me, the answer is pretty obvious. Because I can look at the light and acknowledge the darkness at the same time, but I don't have to walk in the darkness. I don't have to constantly, be like, "Hey, let's go look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that." You don't have to constantly do that. You just gotta be able to understand that there's a balance, between everything. And with that, there's a balance. Like I said, it was a tragedy. I'm fully aware it's a tragedy. People lost, family members. They lost lovers. People lost lovers. Uh, sons lost fathers. They lost mothers. Daughters lost fathers. Daughters lost mothers. But in the grand scheme of things, it brought people together. But it was still, and this is the important part, is to understand that it was still an event that should have never happened. And that goes for everything. Like, all the things that happen. Like, you know, there's so many, man. There's so many things that happen. I don't want to really list them out because I could bring up somebody's past, their past traumas, and that's for a whole different thing. Like, it's a whole different thing to talk about. But my thing is, I want to help rewire your thinking to focus a little more on the truth that it's God that makes everything right. Things just aren't magically made right. And even in the sense of believing that God magically makes things right, that's not true. He makes things right through the truth. He makes things right through, faith, through consistency, through a manner of things. It's not just, it just happens and all of a sudden you're happy, joyous, peaceful, and forget everything and all the bad stuff. Like, no, it's not like that. It's an active choice. It's a lifestyle with everything else. This actually is really a short thing, like, even shorter than my normal things, because it's just, this is one of the more simpler ones. It's just, Are you willing to see it this way or are you not? There's no debate or anything else. I mean, I can't convince you. I'm not going to sit here and try and convince you because I can't. It's entirely up to you. I guess I could give some examples then of me personally. I had a dark period in life during high school where it's funny. It's funny because like nothing was really going on. It was just all on the inside. I just didn't love myself. I hated myself so much for no reason. I don't even remember why, dog. I think it was just because I wasn't doing this, wasn't doing that. I don't know. I was such a foolish, ignorant child back then. But I got sick of it. I got fed up. I got fed up. I realized that a lot of things that were happening were pointless. And so I ran to the one who made everything right. I prayed to God with all my heart, mind, body, and soul, and He washed it all away. And once I grew even more in Him, I can look back in life and say, hey, look, that suffering had no purpose, but God gave it purpose. He gave it purpose because things happen. Bad things happen. We sin. We fall short of the glory of God. Other people hurt us. All these things happen. But He makes it right. But He doesn't just make it right. He takes it a step further. And He makes it a story, a testimony. He makes it something you can look back and reflect on and say, I came out of that. When I was in that, I could not imagine that I would be in the position I am today. I could not fathom it. He didn't just bring me out of it. He brought me to such a higher place that I cannot, I don't know, for lack of a better term, I can never go back to that. I can never go back to that. The life I have now, I don't want to let it go. I don't want to walk away from it. And so that's why developing this mindset is so important. The reason I make all these videos, the reason I talk about anything, I do everything that I do is to help people because I needed help. And I did not have people in my life that were so easily accessible, or that maybe I just didn't have faith in, maybe I just didn't trust, maybe it was just me. But either way, I didn't have that. And so hopefully this is that for you, if that's what you need. I pray that everything that I do can be a light for you, can be a guiding light to the Lord, because ultimately He's the one that's going to help you. I'm just a guide. I'm just a guide to the true guide, I'm a sheep helping the other sheep find the shepherd, He leaves to go find the one, but the one doesn't always want to come back. So sometimes it's got to be a sheep that helps out the sheep and not the shepherd. Dang, that's good. I just got that just now. That's good. Ooh. God, that's good, y'all. But anyways, may God's face shine on you. May His peace shine on you. May His love, mercy, and His grace, just all of the wonderful things that the Lord does shine on you. And may His deep, wise, and considerable and empathetic ways dawn upon you. And may you have revelations that will not only help you, but other people. Be blessed.